angles and parallel lines. When we have a set of parallel lines and we have a line cutting it, so here I use the arrows here to show these two lines are parallel, and I'm going to intersect these two parallel lines with another line. You can see I've created 8 angles. 4 of them are small and they're exactly the same. The other 4 are larger and they're all exactly the same. So for sake of argument, if the small angle is 30, the big angle would be 150. So this is 30, that would be 150. Why? Because these two angles form a straight line here. And angles on a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. Angles here on this straight line makes 180 degrees. So these two makes 180 degrees altogether. These two makes 180 degrees. So you can see that opposite angles are the same. These two are the same. These are called vertically opposite angles. When two lines, any two lines cross, you have 4 angles. The two opposite called vertically opposite. Vertically opposite angles are equal. As I mentioned, the 4 angles are all small and they're all the same size. The larger angles are all the same. So we have all small angles 30 and all big angles are 50, because a small angle and a large angle adds up to 180 degrees no matter where they are. But it matters where they are as far as our explanation of these angles are concerned. If the angles are same size and they're on one side of the line, for example, if I use one side of the line, this angle and that angle are called corresponding angles. The reason for corresponding is because they correspond to the same side of the line. In primary schools, they use the word F angles. So here, because they form an F. Because it's probably too much for the primary school children to remember these correct description of the angles. So they call them F angles, but the proper name is corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are equal. You could have used the big angle here. These are the same. They could be on either side of the line. Could be that one and that one, or this one and that one. So that's one of the description of the equal angles in parallel lines. Let me draw another set of angles, set of lines. two parallel lines. And let's cut it again. This time I'm going to call them with letters. A, B, C, D, and E, F, G, H. So you can see now angle A equals angle E. A and E are the same size angle. They're on the same side. The answer is they're the same because they're corresponding angles. So these are called the F angles in primary and called corresponding. Now, angle B is a small angle, angle E is a small angle. They must be the same. We can say angle B equals angle E. We know they are the same, but the reason is B is on one side and E is on the other side. They're called alternate angles because they're alternatively on either side of the line. So called alternate. And in primary school, they call them Z angles. I'll explain to you why Z angles. Because if you highlight these lines, this angle here and that angle, they're the same size angle and they're alternatively on either side of the line. It could be the obtuse angles. It could be this one, F and D would be the same. So you can say therefore F, angle F equals angle D. Reason, alternate angles. Now, the two angles inside, they refer to them as U angle or C angle. The C angle or the U angle, these are called co-interior angles. And because one is a large one, one is a small one, add up to 180 degrees. So we've got three types of angle within a set of parallel lines. They are either co-interior angles, add up to 100 degrees. If they're the same type angles, like here, the orange angles or the green angles, they are the same. The green angle is called green angle. In this case, D would be the same as G because they are corresponding angles. B would be the same as E. Z angles or alternate angles. And These are the only three. And vertically opposite angles are equal no matter where they are. That's nothing to do with parallel lines. Any two lines meet, you create four angles. And opposite angles are called vertically opposite angles. So if I just list these terms, we have vertically opposite angles are equal. Corresponding angles are equal. Alternate angles are equal. And co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees. Let's have some examples on these questions. Okay. Let's have one simple example here. This time I'm going to move my parallel lines with a different orientation. So I use the two sides of my ruler. So these two angles are, these two lines are parallel, and I'm going to cut it with I'll call this angle B, I'll call that angle A, I'll call that 72, and obviously that would be 108 because angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. If one is 72, the other one has to be 108. Now, question is, how much is angle A? Angle A is a large angle. Angle 108 is the large angle. So A and 108 are the same. So I write A equals 108. Just highlight this. But this only gives you half the marks. Reason: corresponding angles. Or they can call it F angles in primary school. But really you should be using the proper name for it. What about B? B is a small angle, and 72 is small angle. So I can say A equals 72. Sorry, B equals 72, angle B equals 72. Same reason. Corresponding angles. Now let me add some more information here now. I want to know how much that angle is, and I'll call it C. I can use two different reasons. I can say B and C, B equals C, which was 72. Reason: vertically opposite angles are the same. Vertically opposite angles are equal. Or you could have said C and 72 are alternate angles. C is a small angle, 72 is the small angle. One is on this side of the line and the other one on the other side of the line. And they are within the parallel lines. So C also equals 72, alternate angles. What about this angle here? Angle D. Is a small angle or a big angle? Obviously, small angle is an acute angle. 108 is an obtuse angle, so I'm going to mark it with red. Sorry, with green. Now, angle D. I've got many reasons to tell you angle D is 72. Reason 1. D and 72 are vertically opposite angles. So I can say D equals 72. Vertically opposite angles. Or I could say D and 108 add up to 180 degrees. So I could say D equals 180 minus 108. That's 72. And reason angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Or I could say C and D are corresponding angles. Angle C equals angle D, corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are the same. But we already knew C was 72. Therefore, C equals D equals 72 degrees. I have written a question here, and one angle is given as 78, and the rest are letters that need to be found. The way I would go about it, of course, it's not just a unique way. Here I can say W equals 78. I can find W first, because they're vertically opposite angles. Or I can find X to say angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Or I can find V here for the same reason, to say angles on a straight line equals 180 degrees. So I'll go for W and I'll write the reasons as I go along. So W, which is one of those small angles, equals 78. But the reason is vertically opposite angles. So I will say W equals 78. So I get 1 mark for finding the answer and another mark for the reason. Vertically opposite angles. You don't have to say equals because you've already equaled them anyway. So here, 78 degrees. We can find X or Y here now. Say angle X. I would say X, angle X plus 78 equals 180 degrees. Here is a real simple equation. So X would be 180 minus 78 would be 102 degrees. And then you write angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so X would be 102, and V would be 102 because they're vertically opposite angles. So let me just mark this with the orange color here, because those are the big ones. So to continue, I would say V equals X, angle V equals angle X, both 102 degrees, vertically opposite angles. Okay, now let's go to the diagram now. I have not made use of the parallel lines yet. These two lines are parallel. Okay, let's go and find angle U. I can either say X and U are co-interior, or also, I forgot to tell you before, co-interior angles, sometimes called allied angles. These two makes 180 degrees. Or I could say W and U are corresponding angles. So there's not only one way to describe this. So U would be the small angle. I know I've drawn it bigger, but it's the acute angle. So I can say W equals U equals 78 corresponding angles. W equals U equals 78 corresponding angles. So here a label a 78. What about R? R is vertically opposite to U, or R and that 78 are corresponding angles. So it's up to you. So R would be one of the small angles again, because it's acute. So I can say R equals U. I'll write it here. Angle R equals angle U, vertically opposite. So I'm going to write this as 78 as well. Now, to find this angle, which is labeled as 60, well, 60 and 78 makes 180. Or we can say 60 and V are corresponding angles. So if I color this appropriately with orange, two ways of saying, entirely up to you. I would go for V equals 60 equals 102 degrees corresponding angles. So 60 equals V equals 102 corresponding angles. So we need to find the value of T now. 60 equals 108, 102. T is 102 divided by 6. That would be 51 over 3. And 51 divided by 3 is 17 degrees. So we found T equals 17 degrees. but 60 would be here, 102. But 60 and 3p plus 90, they're the same. They're vertically opposite angles. Or you could say x and 3p plus 90 are corresponding angles. They're both the same type angles and they correspond to the same side of the line. So it's up to me. I shall go for the corresponding, or I can go for vertically opposite angles. I would say 3p plus 90 equals x, which is 102 degrees. Corresponding angles. So we have an equation here, 3p plus 90 equals 102. Take 90 from both sides. So 3p and 102 minus 90 is 12. Therefore p is 12 divided by 3 is 4 degrees. So value of p is 4. 3 lots of 4 at 90 makes 102 degrees. This concludes our lesson on the angles within a set of parallel lines, which are corresponding, alternate, allied, or co-interior angles. And we also made use of vertically opposite angles, that any two lines, like here, any two lines they cross, you have two sets of vertically opposite angles. I hope you've enjoyed your lesson. Until our next lesson, bye.